Deontay Bay, peace and blessings to the collective. Rahu in the 6th, Ketu in the 12th. What is this axis speaking to? What is the purpose of this alignment? How does one properly assess and address the particulars of this placement, within both ends of the spectrum? And how does one make the best use of it that they possibly can in order to churn the Amrita out of the ocean of their life that they desire, right? So, Rahu in the 6, K2 in the 12. This axis in particular, I feel like it speaks to the theme of confusion, imbalance, and a desire to achieve balance in the areas surrounding the K2 in the 12th end, which deals with moksha, or you can say it can deal with union with God. It can, deal with subconscious, universal, higher self integration, or, going beyond duality, or, you know what I'm saying, the attainment of the self realization, all of these different, uh, super, nigga said super, all of these different, whatever super extreme spiritual last word you want to attach to it, whatever the fuck, you feel me? 12th house, right? Whatever, highly, extreme spiritual realization, whatever makes you woker than everybody else, cool. Okay, cool. You can have that, all right? That's but that's what K2 in the 6th house is looking for. That true state of being. That true, you can say kaivalya, or that true ultimate release. You feel me? The 12th deals with losses, but it's not just losses and expenses to be painful. It's things that you detach from, you let go of in order to experience the true internal bliss, or the true awakening, or the true, non-duality, or whatever you want to call it. It's like they say in the Bible, like, letting go of the weight of the world. That's the loss that the 12th is speaking to. It's the second from the 11th, right? So it's like if you want to call it, it's sukkah, or it's the addition, a sukkah like addition, or a sweetness to the 11th house. The 11th is the highest desire. You feel me? The highest gains and all of that and whatnot. So why would the 12th house be like an addition to that? Because to truly gain, you have to let go. To seek, or to become in union with God, you know what I'm saying, or to reach the ultimate realization and whatnot. It's a lot of things that you have to lose, a lot of false ideological concepts, a lot of subconscious conditionings. You feel me? It's a lot of things that you have to sacrifice or let go in order to achieve the only true gain. That is not really a game, because it never really was lost, or it never really was separate from you, right? But that's basically that's what the 12th house speaks to. And K2 speaks to a desire, or a person who, within previous lifetime or whatnot, can have a great deal of understanding, embodiment, and comprehension, and on those levels of spirituality. But K2 can show it's K2 is where you missed the spot. Right? So although you can have a high degree of mastery, you can have a high degree of understanding, you can have a high degree of beyond contemplative intelligence. What I mean by that is something so deeply you don't even have to think about it. It's just innate intelligence. It naturally arises. That's what separates Mercury from Ketu. Mercury has to calculate. Mercury, you know, has to calculate, assess, discriminate. Then it takes action. But Ketu it's just like it knows it so well. No thought is needed to produce, the truth or the answer, if that makes sense. I know I'm going off into different tangents or whatnot, but back to what I was originally saying. Uh, what was I originally saying? One second, give me a second. K2 and the 12th. K2, I don't even know what I was originally saying, but okay, so I'm just start somewhere and get back to it. But yeah, okay, so K2 and the 12th, it pretty yeah, that's what I was saying. So K2 is where you missed the spot. You have a great level of mastery or understanding in these particular areas, but there's something is like a needle in a haystack, or maybe a couple of needles. There's some falsities, deep level falsities and conditionings that still remain, and you're not necessarily going to be able uh to weed these things out on your own without experiencing the opposite dimension, or without experiencing a mirror, which is the Rahu end of that perspective or whatnot, right? So K2 and the 12th, a person is not going to necessarily be able to experience, the moksha, or, the aloneness, or, the, the high spiritual attainment that they're looking for, uh, without dealing with the six, which is, the parabda karma, or, the previous life, impure, or, you know, um, bad, for lack of a better word, karmas that a person has to deal with and confront within his present lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that they have to get this karma off because they were just so evil, and God just wants to make sure that you're paid back. That's not the necessarily theme or idea. It's not about good or evil. It's merely about, there's some things that you might have done that have some sort of stain or root, or some sort of residue that is within the being, and ultimately you're the only one who will clean that residue off. You feel me? And us being the limited human individuals that we are, sometimes we just have to confront hard situations, or we have to encounter others, or we have to deal with the daily responsibilities and things of that nature, in order for us to see the stain, or to see where we're dirty, or you feel me, to see the truth about certain situations, to give us a chance to cleanse ourselves. That's the sixth house. The sixth house is really giving a person a chance to deal with the pride, the karm, to cleanse self. It's not a curse. It's not something that should be looked at as, or you're just some evil fuck, and hell is your eternal destination. It's never that way. It's merely, listen, you got some dirt on you. You feel me? We're gonna create a life for you, or a life is gonna be created for you. In order to, clean the self up. That's all, right? You can't just think it away sometimes. You can't just meditate it away. You can't just feel like you can go into a mountain, or you can seclude yourself, and every everything will be fine. You know what I'm saying? Bad, for lack of a better word, patterns or karmas or whatever, this stuff can stay really deep inside of you. You know what I'm saying? Hidden, like real. It's crazy. Like real imperceptible, to a level where you would think that that's not even you, or that's not even your personality at all, until you were to encounter an obstacle or a situation that gives you a chance to see the truth of your genuine reaction and the genuine result of that scenario. I know I'm going off of many different tangents, but let me get back to K2 and 12, Rahu and the 6. So with this particular axis, Rahu and the 6 is showing that a person can have a real intelligence, have a real sharpness, have a real, obsessive, or a hyperfixation in regards to mitigating the issue, the problem, the whatever, the obstacle, mitigating these things, before they arise. It's real conserved with themes that surround, saving, conserving, uh leveraging, getting the best deal possible, getting the best deal possible in the quickest way possible, getting the best in the quickest way possible, right? Is really concerned with hustling as well. You know what I'm saying? It has the mentality to work and treat his life like a business, not even monetary or the financial perspective, but in the areas of health, or in the areas of even spirituality. In all areas, like it kind of, at least on a thought level, like sees or perceives a life as a business, which is great. Issue with Rahu in the sixth, it often can cause a person to go through either a deep physical illness, or you can deal with, you know, uh, spiritual problems, unseen enemies. You know what I'm saying? You like real hard to get rid of type situations. If it's just Rahu and Ketu alone, that's much better, and it might not be as much as a serious issue that can arise, especially if they're in great sign as well, and the rest of the chart, is in strength as well. But um, otherwise, it can showcase having to encountering or a serious illness, either physically, spiritually, both, whatever, you feel me, that is, it's not something that you can just get rid of in a day. It's going to take a deep amount of meticulous attention and discipline and right application in order to alleviate uh such said disorder or illness, right? But with Rahu in the sixth, the person is intelligent. It actually gets the information that it needs in order to handle the enemy, in order to handle the problem. It actually, more often than not, it encounters or it comes across these solutions to do this thing. But the thing about Rahu is Rahu likes to cut corners, which can bite it, can get his head chopped off in the end. Rahu, to tame Rahu more effective, it really wants to embody the ways of Saturn, to make it more practical, or to make it have more of a restraint upon itself, to persevere but still be restrained in its perseverance, to not just be so overly greedy or so overly attached to achieving the end outcome, to understand that it's a journey, it's a process. You feel me? Be present within the process. Don't just keep seeing the end goal. You will get your head chopped off. Don't just see the Amrita. You have to see the Mahini avatar. You have to see that the sun and the moon is snitching, and the Mahini avatar is charging up, the Sudarshan chakra. It's a journey. Don't just jump to it. So, Rahu can give a person in the sixth, especially if the Rahu axis is more activated, or if it's planets that's sitting with Rahu, especially if it's not in the best of signs. You know what I'm saying? And the chart necessarily isn't the most pious of charts. Rahu definitely can make a person have a criminal inclination, which can totally defeat the beneficial purpose of Rahu in the sixth. So it's like Rahu in the sixth, you can have a criminal inclination. Not only can you have a criminal inclination, uh, you can be a great criminal in whatever type of scammer or in whatever way that you might be. That you can be very much so great and very much so a demon with it or whatnot. Downside is you're pretty much just it's you're pretty much just bogging down yourself with even more problematic karma. That will, and a lot of it will be paid back in this current incarnation, like, what I'm saying, painfully. uh it's like you're already in debt, and you're taking out a loan. Not only are you taking out a loan, but maybe you're stealing from other people, or you're taking out loans criminally in other people's names in order to try to pay off the debt, or in order to try to mitigate the problems that the debt comes with. But you feel me? In the end, you get caught up. Wow, You done scammed 12 people. You feel me? Like you did more wrong. Now you have even more debt to pay back. With interest. You know, and it not only is compound interest. You feel me? So that can be one problem of Rahu, and you know what I'm saying. And one potential problem. Uh, don't want to see Rahu and Venus in the sixth house. That's something you don't want to see. Uh, let's see. But on the good side, the depths, the enemies, the pain, the problematic situation, and things of that nature can eventually lead Rahu to become fed up and to want to seek, Ketu or the moksha or, the sannyas or, the renunciation or, the meditative living, the monk type of living. Be really interested in these concepts for the truth of them, not for the outward appearance or not for the I'm trying to build my ego, but to really seek those types of lifestyles and those types of therapies in order to rejuvenate and bring peace into the soul. So it can be great for that. What else can K2 in the 12th or K2 in the 12th is definitely great, when it comes to intuitive intuitive ability, it, spiritual navigation. You know what I'm saying? Mediumship, being someone who is a meditator and able to receive download or able to receive not only download but vision. You know what I'm saying? The intuition, the spiritual capacity is very much open. Naturally with K2 and the 12th, and to address, how a lot of people, or some people at least within the Vedic astrological community, believe that, K2 and the 12th, it means, it's your last life, or you about to be realized. Like, no, that's I'm not a rishi, you feel me? So I'm not gonna say that's not true. It sounds like dogmatic nonsense to me to just believe such a simple combination can indicate moksha. Like, I don't rock with it, but I'm not a rishi. I cannot say that I factually know this is an erroneous perception, so I would just say I don't think so. But I'll leave it at that, right? But what was I originally saying? K2 in the 12th. It's not necessarily, in my opinion, right? I have to say my opinion. It's not necessarily that it's it, it's a combination of moksha. It's more so showing there is innate attachment or clinging to that particular concept, and a great understanding surrounding, what I'm saying, spiritual elevation. And with the talents of K2, with the mastery of K2 to achieve the moksha that it really wants within this particular area, a person can use their gifts and abilities to do service, you feel me, within the world. The sixth house Rahu, or the sixth house itself, it deals with service, you feel me. It deals with, you know uh working off the depth, and they can work off their depth, so they can work off the impurities within their own consciousness through sixth house activity, which is service. So using the spiritual gifts or the spiritual comprehension to even enter spaces that deal with, not even enter, to enhance your presence within the world, and to enhance the presence of others within the world, you know what I'm saying? To use your spiritual knowing while you're maybe you're a politician or a businessman, or a manager of some sort, you feel me? To use what you know to better refine and to uplift truly, inwardly and outwardly, the quality and the capacity of the life, not just your life but others. You know what I'm saying? The societal life and whatnot. Uh, that's that's a great opportunity for Ketu and the 12, Rahu and the 6, right? And just to kind of touch on that with a couple examples, I I basically Googled, celebrities with K2 and the 12, Rahu and the 6. Let's see, screenshots. I hope y'all don't see nothing too crazy in this camera roll. I ain't take nothing crazy in a while, so I should be good. Who am I looking for? Let's see. Aditya Yogi Adityanath, right? So Yogi Adityanath, he was appointed the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh in 2017 when the Bharatiya Janata Party won the state assembly election, surprising many in the country as a monk assumed his political position. So you feel me? And I, the way that I guess the way that I'm gonna start doing these videos, which I should have done them previously, is I make the interpretation and I show how the interpretation plays out, within real world, actual people's lives and scenarios. So this is a monk with K2 and the 12, Rahu and the 6. He was initially a monk and then he assumed a political position. You would ask, why what would make a monk want to become a politician? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would make a person do that? He's not necessarily doing it for status. He's not necessarily doing it. He to a degree, he can be doing it for the welfare of the collective or the people, right? But this is just my belief. He is realizing that being in the seat of a politician, that giving service to the society and etc., is very much so more spiritual than most people think. You know what I'm saying? Being in the midst and being able to remain, in an equanimous mind state while still carrying out all his services and duties. You feel me? That very much so uh is a real testing tool for the spiritual aspirant or for the one who is seeking the 12th house moksha of Ketu. Not just to say that he's only doing it to further his spiritual progression. I don't know why he's doing it in all honesty, but I'm just giving, uh a perspective on why he could be doing it. One reason he could be doing it, you feel me? After being a monk for so long and finally deciding to assume the role of a politician. You know what's crazy? He assumed this position at the beginning of his K2 dasha. So let me go to his chart. This is his birth chart. He has K2 in the 12th. K2 is in Cancer in 2017. Let me see. 2017, you see? February 21, 2017 to February 21, 2024. That was his K2 dasha. Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh 2017 present. Adityanath was a prominent campaigner for the BJP in the 2017 assembly elections in the state of Uttar Pradesh. The state government appointed him as a chief minister on March 18, 2017. He was sworn in the next day after the BJP won the assembly election. So you feel me? Very shortly after his Ketu Dasha, he was elected chief minister or whatnot, right? And it's like, well, K2 deals with spirituality. K2 deals with all this woke ass shit. Like, what will make a person is because that, like, giving service is spiritual. Basically, that's basically it. You feel me? And his particular expression, it brings me to one of the stories I think was in Yogananda's book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, I believe, on how Trilanga Swami, was basically giving praise to Lahiri Mahasya, right? He was giving praise to him because he was saying, like, the state of exaltation that you've attained, being able to have a family and being able to be a family man and a businessman, and still being able to attain and retain that state of exaltation, right? In the midst of the world. It's praiseworthy, you feel me? Trilanga was basically saying, you know, uh, I don't think he was saying this. He was basically, alluding to, like, that's a great feat. That's not necessarily something he did or something that he could have done, right? And it Lahiri's, which I think Lahiri, he has Rahu and Mercury and Virgo, which is the natural sixth house or whatnot. Lahiri's, what's the word I'm looking for? Lahiri's spiritual exaltation, you feel me? And his ability to be present within the world, you feel me? It just showcases the truth of his being, so I can get off of that. Mel Gibson, Rahu in the sixth house of his horoscope, played a pivotal role. And I gotta shout out the website. What is the website? I'll plug the website so y'all can check them out. They got they got a lot of celebrity charts and whatnot that you can look up for particular placements. I was just, Google searching this real quick to get some real world examples of how this particular combination plays out. But Mel Gibson is like a person who has a more of a Rahu concentration within this particular axis. Mel Gibson is in Hollywood. I'm not necessarily the greatest fan of Mel Gibson. I don't know his life story or, things like that. But all for the top, and with him being in the Hollywood space and him having the success and the accumulation that he's had that he's had within that particular space, already knowing Mel, Mel been through some things, right? We just gonna say that Mel has definitely been through some things and had some dirty scenario. So I looked at Mel Gibson's chart and automatically. We're not gonna read this chart. I'm gonna stay on point with this in particular, but just by looking at the sixth house Rahu with the sixth house Saturn and Mars, Mel has experienced a lot. Mel can be considered to be a dirty guy, right? Now the six, it also, like, that's one of the indicators that this guy is also a real intellectual. You feel me? Really profound guy, like real brainiac, real contemplative. And not only a brainiac, but a guy that at least when it comes to weapons or those type of six house themes of obliterating enemy, or you know what I'm saying, dealing with the enemy, or strategy. He has a lot of that. He's in, you have to be intellectual or a strategist to a certain degree to even be a director, to come up with all of these different movie concepts and to direct them, and you feel me, and a plot and plan, you feel me. I couldn't tell you how intricate or how problematic or how complicated those particular things could be or get or whatnot. But beyond that, Mel is definitely a very intelligent guy. I wonder what his IQ would be, and he has a Virgo moon as well. But nah, Mel has definitely dealt with some demonic scenarios. I'm gonna just say that. I'm not gonna get into the depth of it. Not reading his chart, but just off of that Rahu placement alone. And I even came across, you feel me, this particular statement with Mel saying, I was spiritually bankrupt. So eventually he did reassume, I guess, his childhood, religion or faith. I think he was a Jew early on or something, but this is coming out Mel's own mouth or his own words. Mel Gibson says his controversial film, The Passion of the Christ, has become a strong force in his life after years of living as a monster and spiritually bankrupt in the thralls of success. So these are his words. It's not me saying it, but these are his words, his perception of himself. Spiritually bankrupt monster, and that basically um is speaking to the potential dangers of, Rahu in the sixth house, especially if the axis is more weighted down than the Ketu in. A person can be so cunning, can be such a strong intellect, and can know how to handle the enemy, or can know how to manipulate, swindle, get over, take advantage of. It can be so calculative, can be so sharp within these areas that it can also become a very problematic demon or bully or abuser, and can incur or come into even deeper karmic, even deeper problematic situations, even deeper forms of suffering. K212 always gives a person, to try to turn back to spirituality, or to seek the healing. It's not always guaranteed though, and the moksha is not always guaranteed. Ultimately, it's up to the individual soul. But Mill himself, has said, he returned to his original, religion or spiritual path, and he does say, he recognizes that he's still full of flaws and things of this nature or whatever. But ultimately, this is the Rahu in the sixth, K2 in the 12th house axis. My perspective, you feel me? I'll throw some updates or leave some more commentary in the comments as it comes to me naturally. You feel me? Definitely feel free to give me any feedback, positive or negative, for lack of a better word, that you feel arises within you naturally. Deontay Bay.